On this episode of the Hog Central Podcast, a victory at Vandy keeps the Hogs' hopes still alive for the tournament. They get Mississippi State Saturday to end the regular season. Will a win there sew up an NCAA tourney bid? We'll discuss that on this edition of the Hog Central Podcast.
This is the Hog Central Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Sullivan.
Welcome to the Hog Central Podcast. It took us about 12 minutes to get set up, but we are ready to go. And we run a weekly segment with Coach Z, and he said something that stuck with me. He said, going into this game, he said, you don't put this Vandy game aside and concentrate on Mississippi State. He said, we're the more talented team. Our coaches have won big games. We need to go to Vandy and beat them. And Coach Z, you called it. Did you speak to him before the game?
No, I said, Coach Cal, can I talk to you and the team before the game? And he said, absolutely not.
But they look like...
You know what, you're right, Sully. It just seemed like a great opportunity to win. And I've been watching Vandy a lot on the road, and you can see a lot of the warts that they had, some of the guard issues that they had, and they weren't big. They weren't a big team. And in the league, they were 16th out of 16 in field goal percentage defense. People were getting to the basket on them. People were shooting higher percentage shots against them than they were everyone else. That don't mean we were going to be able to do it, but we were able to do it on Tuesday night, and you scored 90 points just 3 days basically after you could only get 3 field goals in one half against a 1-14 South Carolina team. That's college basketball. As Chuck Barrett said last night, he said, I can't figure this stuff out.
Hey, Ernie, I think it's matchups, too. I think we matched up well with them. We were bigger, we were more physical, and we overwhelmed their little guard there, Edwards. He was 0 for 12 from the floor. He's the leading scorer, and he just looked out of sorts all game. And we forget that DJ Wagner is a bigger guard, and Richmond's a huge guard.
You know, what I thought happened last night was Vandy's not very athletic, and I think we are very athletic. And I think our guards are so much bigger and so fast, so much faster than them. And I think we just are overall better, talented basketball team than Vandy. What I liked last night, we did it by committee. All 5 starters that played scored in double figures. When has that happened this year? Well, all 5 starters score in double figure and contribute for this basketball team. I'm happy for them. They laid an egg at South Carolina. They look like a Pee-wee team at South Carolina. And then you go over to Vandy and you look like a Final Four team. I'm like Chuck Barrett. Somebody figure it out for me. I don't know what the deal is.
Hey, a good barometer for this offense is when Nelly hits a few shots, this team is usually pretty good. What I think about this basketball team is if they start inside the three-point line, they seem to play much better to me. But when they come out and they just shoot threes and stand around and watch each other, but they were doing it by committee last night. Let's give it up for Trevon Brazil. I don't know where he's been, but last night he finally showed up. His athletic ability won that basketball game for us last night. Yeah, hey, give some props to Cal, too. He has encouraged Brazil while everybody else has piled on him, and, it finally paid off. It's like throwing that money in the slot machine. You keep religiously throwing it in. it took months, but it finally hit. It couldn't have hit at a better time, Z. And who knows what kind of Brazil we'll see going forward.
Yeah, he's been just a up-and-down player. You know, we saw it the first year, especially in Maui, how great he could be, the high potential, where he looked like he would be one of the best players in the country. And then he kind of tailed off a little bit then after that, and then he got hurt. And then last year, he was just not as good a player. He had some flashes here and there, but he didn't have a very good season overall. The team had a losing season. And then this year, he's had about 7 outstanding games, Ernie, but we've played 30. And he's probably had he's had 7 just extremely high level games where he was the best or the second best player on the whole floor, both teams. And then he probably had another 5 or 6 games where he was pretty darn good. So let's just say 12 games. And he had 18 games where he was just very average, didn't do much. He had some bad games, including South Carolina. South Carolina, he's when he was on the floor, we were minus 21.
Wow.
When Colin Murray Bulls was on the court, they were plus 31. And I'm sorry, he was minus 28. Trevon was minus 28 at South Carolina. And then to flip that and play a better team and have such a great game, dominate the game. And he dominated on offense and defense. He had high energy. He looked motivated. We hadn't seen him look motivated all the time. He looked determined to help the Razorbacks win. We've not seen him look determined to help the Razorbacks win all the time. And he just looked like a great player. He looked like a high-level NBA player in that game. So hopefully that gets him going. I think Adu Thero being out, those minutes have fell to him. He was playing before.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. He was getting an opportunity when Adu Thero was there. He was getting an opportunity when Boogie Flan was there. But now he's getting greater opportunity, and he can play through mistakes a little bit more.
Hey, talk about the defense at the end of the first half. I mean, it was Vandy by 9, and all of a sudden we put the squeeze on them. I think they missed 15 of their last 16 shots in the first half, and they didn't get a lot of good looks. It reminded me of what happened to us at South Carolina. They got inside and couldn't function. We had back-to-back possessions where Carter Knox was like a freight train going down the court who got old-fashioned threes and almost back-to-back plays. And I thought that defense, and with this team, I think going forward, and in the past, it's been the defense that kickstarts the offense, and that was the case again last night.
One thing I've noticed about this basketball team is we have a tendency to start slow. But last night, we didn't start slow. They hit a 3, went up 5-2. We come back, hit a 3. We stayed in the basketball game. We just kept grinding. And I think our defense was so great and we were so much bigger than them. And I think they didn't think we were very good because of our conference record. But we're a pretty good
They watched the
team.
South Carolina game.
Right. Right. They watched the South Carolina game. So they said this is a cakewalk in the park. But you got to give our team credit. Hey, they could have folded, went to South Carolina, didn't show up, went to Vandy, showed up. Hey, we need this basketball team at Vandy to continue to be the team at Mississippi State and in the SEC tournament if we're going to make a run in the NCAA tournament. This team needs to watch the way they played at Vandy, and I think they can go a long ways in the big dance.
Okay, Z, we win Saturday. We kind of punch our ticket to the NCAA tourney. Agree?
Yeah, I don't think it's done yet. It's probably the Vanderbilt win is huge. The league's going to get 13 or 14 teams in. I just didn't think. I've been a naysayer of that.
Yeah.
I thought it would be 11 when it was all said and done, maybe 12, but it is. It's going to be 13 or 14. OU, when they've been bad, they've responded with a good win. Georgia, when they fell off and looked like they were dead in the water, they would beat Florida. All the teams have had really big wins to keep this happening. Texas looked like they were going to fall out. They go win in Starkville. I'm not in love with Mississippi State's team. I think Chris Chan is awesome. I've known him in the business a long time, back to when he was a JUCO coach. Known him a long time, a great basketball coach, and he's beaten us. He beat us last year. I have so much respect for Chris Chan. He used to be one of those coaches that he wanted to beat you 50-47.
Yeah.
Just like when the Arkansas Razorbacks beat New Mexico State in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, that was ugly.
He was coaching there.
Yeah.
We beat him like 53-48 or something. That's the games he likes. And he said that he's told me last year that it's getting harder for him to recruit players because they play slow, they grind it out. He expects toughness, gritty. They don't play real fast. He said, I'm going to change. I'm going to play faster. And his teams are scoring many more points this year. But that old defense he relied on, Ernie, his style, slowing the ball up when he had it. On the other end, playing gritty, tough, physical, beat you up defense. That's gone out the window with the faster play. This is not the same Mississippi State that we've seen from Chris Chan's. They are going to make their third straight NCAA tournament, but it looks like they're probably going, if they lose to us, they'll be 8-10 in the league. But they've got enough good wins that are going to get in. I'm just not in love with their team.
We kind of
rely on a little small guard, Josh Hubbard, who's really good.
Yeah.
They got to rely on him almost having 25 for them to have a chance to win.
I use that old Pat Bradley saying, we kind of are a prisoner of the moment of the last game. But you look at the big picture, this team was 0-5, and if they beat Mississippi State, they finish 8-5. since then, which is not a bad little run in this league, considering you lost both Boogie and Thero. I mean, they've played pretty good basketball. We've watched it. It's been up and down, but 8-5 considering, and we knew it would get easier on this back end, but they've won the games they've had to win to get in this spot, in this current state of college basketball.
Well, we said they would finish probably 8-10. What are they? They 7-9. I mean, 7-10 right now.
7-10 right now.
We said 8-10. We thought they would finish, and I'm happy for the way they're playing. And we just got to continue to grind. I agree with Coach Zimmerman. I think Mississippi State coach changed his style, and it's hurt his basketball team because their defense is not as good as it was when he first got there. And I think Hubbard is the little energizer that makes them go. But what worries me about Mississippi State, they bigs are men, and we're gonna have a tough go inside. I think they're very athletic, just like we are. I think it's gonna be a great basketball game. We need the crowd to show up. We got a couple guys that's going to be leaving. This is the biggest game on the schedule. Coach Richardson used to always say, the biggest game on your schedule is the next one you're getting ready to play.
Hey, points in the paint last night, 48-26, and fast break points, 17-3. I mean, that's our game.
Wow.
I mean, and we don't get our paint points by throwing it inside. We get it by pounding. And last night we were attacking.
Yeah, definitely. The points in the paint were. You could see if you're watching the game within 3 or 4. Now, maybe 8 minutes into the game, you kind of felt like, hey, in the paint, there's a huge difference. We knew we had a size advantage before the game. You're looking at 7'2", Savannah and 6'11", Jonas, and 6'10", Trevon Brazil. And they've got 6'7" guys.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be their 6. Sometimes those 6'7" guys beat your butt. But they didn't have the players to do it. When it was 29-20, that kid Carey, who's a strong kid, plays really hard. Loves him. Not a great player. He made a hard power move down low. They're up 9. Jonas falls. All he's got to do is just step over top of Jonas and dunk it or lay it in. They're up 11. He misses a 3. He misses a layup by himself. We rush down in fast break, not slowing it down. Coach said in the pregame radio, we're going to have to grind this game. Actually, we needed to because we had better athletes.
Yeah.
You don't want to hold back them horses. You want to run. And so we get it out on break. Nelly gets an and one. 29-23. Turnover, we go down and get another basket, 3-pointer, it's a 3-point game. We get a stop, we go down, we get another and one. It's 29 all. I mean, it quick because the athletes took over, the length, the athleticism took over. And our athletes, our size, they haven't done this all year, but in that game, they were playing really hard and they were playing aggressive. When you got the better talent, when you got the better athletes, and they're out hustling the other team, you're going to beat somebody's butt. And that's what happened. This is who Vanderbilt, I give their coach credit.
Done a great job with that group. I mean,
they're 20-10.
Yeah.
This is the players on his team I would trade for any of our top 9 guys, including Boogie and Dude. This is the players from Vandy I would trade for any of our 9. You ready?
Yeah. What about Carey?
No offense to him. No.
Yeah.
I'm not trading and nothing. I mean, Edwards is a dang good little guard.
Yeah.
He's 0 for 12. He looked like a shell in himself. He was frustrated with the length.
Didn't you say you heard one of those guards was him yelling at his teammates during the game?
Well, A.J. Hoggard has had a pretty good year. He struggled a little bit for him lately, but this isn't against him. This is just what I saw with my eyes. He yelled at his teammates probably a half a dozen times in the game. He would throw the ball away, Ernie, and he would yell at them. I'm not talking about go over to them and whisper in their ear. Yeah. I'm talking about, and at Vandy, we do the broadcast in the worst place in our league, off in the corner, below the court, and they put a table in front of us. And then they put cheerleaders on the other. You can barely see what's going on, but you make the best of it. Sometimes you got to stand up. That's okay. We're glad to be a part of it. But Vandy don't do you no favors. And I'm sitting there with my own eyes, and he's yelling at his teammates. And I know that I'm not picking on him. That's just a fact. You can go back and watch the film.
Is that the transfer from Michigan? From Michigan?
Yeah, Michigan State. Yes. I'm sure he's a great young man. Yeah. I'm sure he's awesome. But he got frustrated. He got mad. Now, Edwards got frustrated, but he didn't yell at nobody. Yeah. He would just drop his head a little bit. Hoggard would yell at his teammates. And Ernie, when they start yelling, you got a lot better chance to win.
How about the shots they hit to stop any momentum? I mean, Brazil in a corner three, and then I thought the dagger was DJ Wagner from shot clock running down from basically the logo, and he nails the three, and baby, it was over at that point. They never let that crowd, Vandy, get over the top. Even after they had it was the worst technical foul you could ever get by Cal. And they got within 9, but they weren't able to inch any closer. We shut the door on them, which was a great sign.
Well, what I think happened in the basketball game was every time they made a run, we answered this time. The shot clock running down, DJ Wagner hits a big three, and I think that's the one, Sully, you correct, that breaks their back. Every time they made a run last night, we answered. Most of the time when team makes a run, we don't answer. And I thought we played really, really good, smart basketball. If y'all remember, I think with 12 minutes left in the second half, we were in the bonus. They had 17 fouls. We were shooting free throws, and I thought we used that to our advantage. We kept attacking, and I'm gonna be honest, we got some breaks on the road last night, and fans need to stop saying we don't get breaks. We got some really breaks last night, but this basketball team is getting better at the right time. Nobody remember how good you are in November, but everybody remember how good you are in March in basketball.
What did you think about those breaks? Where did you feel like those were, Ernie? Do you remember?
Well, I thought that was a foul when Big Z fell. They call an offensive foul. Yeah. I thought Big Z, the one right down there under Vandy, that was a horrible basketball call. Big Z fell. That was marginal contact. He falls, we get a break. And then
he got up, he was laughing. I think he was like,
there was no
great.
contact. Yeah. He fooled the referee. He fooled the referee's eyes. And I always say this, and I'm going to say it on this show. If you referee 5 nights out of the week, I don't care who you are, somebody is getting the short end of the stick at some arena. You can't do this every night. But I love this basketball team. We're doing it with 7. Hey, I'm just hoping they can stay healthy and continue to improve. Everybody contribute. I do contribute.
Yeah.
We know what they're going. Billy's going to do off the bench. But there was energy in the building, and Coach Z is so right. We were the better team. We got better players, and we were just better athletes. And we just showed that we were the best basketball team. The coach at Vandy, Coach Z is correct. He needs to be up for Coach of the Year. He's 20-10 with that basketball team. Yeah. That's amazing in one of the toughest conferences in America.
That's right.
I like the fact that Coach Cal is letting Billy Richmond play through his mistakes. He had some just horrible turnovers last night.
7 of them.
Yeah, but he kept him in, and he, rewarded him. And these 2 freshmen go downhill as good as any other 2 freshmen in the country, both Richmond and Carter Knox. But I love the fact, Billy was frustrated at times, but he stayed with them. And one thing you're going to get with Billy is great effort on defense. And it's just the way he's coached this team, with letting Billy Richmond play through 7 turnovers. I mean, there'd be some coaches that have that guy, nailed to the bench. And, Coach Cal's going to, let Billy play through those mistakes. And, he's going to help him eventually and learn from it.
Well, this is what I think happened. Coach Cal can live with Billy mistakes because Billy plays on both ends of the court. He probably gets mad when a guy plays on one end and don't hustle back. Billy plays hard on both ends. I can live with Billy mistakes. But when you start getting guys that have played 3 or 4 years and they're making simple mistakes, then you have a problem. But, hey, 7 turnovers, a guy with the ball in his hand a lot. Hey, he's got to get better. But, hey, we won the basketball game. I'll take the 7 turnovers as we continue to win.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it.
Talk about Nelly. 7 of 18 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3, 5 of 7 from the free throw line. I think one key going forward is he's got to be consistent for us. He's got to be a guy who brings it every night. And, that wasn't the case at South Carolina. But I think going forward, if we're going to make a run in either tournament, the SEC tournament or the big tournament, Nelly's got to be the guy who puts up 15 or 17 points a game because he's the guy that can get his points by himself. We saw DJ Wagner get all 14 in the second half, but I think Nelly's the guy.
DJ was great the last 30 minutes of the game. Yeah. He was not good the first 10, but Nelly it needs to average close to 20 probably for us. If we're going to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament or next week in Nashville, he's going to have to probably be averaging close to 20. He had 21 in this one. I like the fact that he had those turnover issues up through the first 2 months of the season where he's getting 3 or 4 a game. He had 3 in this game, but he's had a lot of games where he's had 0 or 1 here recently. Now he's playing very well. I mean, plus 14 when he's in the game. He's shooting the ball at a pretty good percentage. And he's calm. He's under control. And I like what I saw from him there. I thought it was one of his better games. Probably he's had about 15 pretty darn good games now in the season, if you go back and look at it. And he only had about 3 of those before Christmas. All the rest of them have been in the league. So, he's a guy that he's playing to his potential now.
So who will we play now? What seed are we looking at, Z, if we win Saturday?
I think we'll be the 9 seed. What's going to happen is we're going to be tied with a bunch of people. It's probably going to be 8 and 10, which is going to be, if Arkansas wins, it'll be Mississippi State 8 and 10, Arkansas 8 and 10. Vanderbilt is going to lose at Georgia, I would think. They'll be 8 and 10, and Georgia will be 8 and 10.
Don't we have the tiebreaker?
You add all that up. We got the tiebreaker on all of those.
Yes.
And so the Razorbacks will be the 9. Unfortunately, we can't get the first round bye. It'd be nice not to even have to play that game, but it'll give us a chance for some payback. Now it'll be an early game, 12 noon next Wednesday, Ernie, in Nashville, 12 noon game against South Carolina. And South Carolina could still, but they would have to win. But LSU is going to get the 15. South Carolina's going to end up most likely getting the 16, looks like. So we would get a rematch with the Gamecocks on a neutral court, and got to win 5 games to win that tournament.
I think that's important. I would love to play South Carolina again. And the reason I just want to see if our bigs have grown up in it, because the big boy Murry, I can't think of his last name.
Colin Murray
Boyles. Yeah.
I mean, he just manhandled us, and the game was over because he just destroyed our big guys inside. So we need to play South Carolina and come back and hit them in the mouth. I hope we play South Carolina. You said 12, Z. You don't think we'll play the evening session?
No, because the 9 seed.
Yeah, I thought the 13, 14, 15, 16 play early, and the 9 would play that night. Am I incorrect?
The 10 seed, which wouldn't be a bad seed because you'd play LSU.
Yeah.
That's a better time. That's 6 o'clock at night. That's if you're the 10 seed. But
the
only way we're going to be the 10 is if we lose. If we win, I don't see any way we're going to be the 10 seed unless Vandy wins at Georgia. I don't know what y'all think. I don't think that'll happen. But Vanderbilt won at Texas A&M.
That's
so
right.
What do I know?
Wow.
And then, but if we're the 9 seed, we'll play the 16 at 12 noon Central Time on Wednesday. And then the good thing is you play at 12. If you win, you play the next day at 12. You win, you play the next day at 12. If you win, you play the next day at 12. And if you win, you play in the championship game at 12. So you're lined up to play at 12 noon if you keep winning. That's the old Kentucky bracket where Kentucky play that early game.
Yes.
They have all day to rest.
Hey, wouldn't it be fun if they get in the tournament and they put Arkansas in the Rupp Regional?
I've been thinking that since I saw the sites. And
it's about the only one close outside of Wichita,
Now, Wichita is the only one, and so if not, we're going to be going back to Rupp Arena.
Oh, you think the NCAA tournament doesn't think about that? That's one that will jump off the paper to them to send Arkansas.
I think they'll do it.
Yeah,
I agree. So I think they'll send.
Yeah, that'll sell tickets. If we make it, we going to Rupp. I guarantee you, we're going to Rupp. I think it's a done deal, Sully. We're going back to Rupp. Yeah, they want Coach Cal to come back, and I think they just love the camaraderie. He came to Arkansas from Kentucky Rupp Arena.
Yeah.
Yes, they want to go back. The thing that worries me, Coach Z, about the 12, 12, 12, 12, and 12 is those games are every day. Yeah. We only have 7 bodies that's playing.
I'm worried about the first 12 game. If they can get by one. I mean, this team, hey, 2 wins would be a great run for this team. Let's face it. I mean, they've had a hard time stringing 2 wins together in conference play all year. To expect them to make this team is not going to make a deep run in the tournament. I hope I eat my words. But I think if you could get 2 wins, I think that would be a great SEC tournament for this team.
I'm going out on a limb and say they win 3 games at the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Well, the only thing is, Z will tell you, if we stop Murry Boyles there, it'll be the first time we stopped him because he's been a hog killer. Z's got all his numbers against Arkansas, and they are not good. He has just killed us all 3 times he's played us.
Yeah.
Colin Murray Boyles?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's killed us 3 times, but the good news is he's due to have a bad game, and surely we're going to figure him out at some point and go to work on him.
Yeah.
But he has wore us
If
out
he
every
did that
time
against everyone, he'd be the SEC Player of the Year.
Right.
That's right.
You know, I want to thank you guys. And Z, hey, you're a trooper. I know you were glued to that women's game, and you couldn't have got much sleep last night. You did your report from the airplane when it landed, or when it took off or it landed. I don't know which one it was.
The takeoff, yeah.
Yeah. What time did you guys get in?
Yeah. I got to my house at about 3:15.
Yeah.
I think I walked in the house at 3:12 a.m.
Hey, I know this is a men's basketball, but let's hear it for Izzy. Her last Razorback game, I think she had 36, and I mean, it ended in a tough way. They had a lead over Georgia for most of the second half, but Georgia just smothered Izzy down the stretch. I mean, they did. They just denied her the basketball.
Yeah, they played much. I don't know what Georgia, they guarded her pretty good the first game.
Yeah.
And she made some big shots down the stretch, and then they made a free throw to beat us at Georgia. But Georgia didn't guard her well at all first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
She was wearing them out. I was telling one of our basketball managers, Kevin Burns, I was like, I think she's going to have about 45 because she was getting those scoop layups, all those pull-ups. But they did guard her very well down the stretch. We had we took some tough shots. I thought we was going to beat Georgia in women's basketball and keep the season at least alive for another day. I think Oklahoma, I did the game when we played Oklahoma. Oklahoma blew us out here in Fayetteville. So I knew that was going to be a hard one, but was still hoping to get there and get a chance to maybe upset Oklahoma. But Georgia found a way. It was not a fun ending. It was kind of tough to watch it.
It ends one of the great individual careers in Razorback women's history, and just a little girl. What a great story from a small Arkansas town, 5'7". People thought you get in the big bad SEC that she ain't going to put up those numbers, and she shocked them all. Just a great story, and a girl that grew up wanted to play for Arkansas, and it was kind of a dream come true. It's unfortunate it ends like this.
Yeah, absolutely. A great single season for her at Arkansas. Wish we'd have had more wins. I know it was a lot of losses, a lot of blowouts, but today was a hard loss because it was so close, and you just kept thinking the Razorbacks were going to win that game. So I feel for Izzy for sure and for her teammates.
Yeah, we didn't think we were going to get you on the Zoom, but thanks to you and thanks to Ernie, the walk-on wonder from Wabaseka. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you again next week. SEC tournament time. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Hog Central Podcast. New episodes drop weekly on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.